Have you ever noticed subtle changes in the way your friends treat you? Maybe they suddenly seem more competitive, or conversations feel slightly off, but you can't quite put your finger on why. The truth is, a hidden rivalry has begun to form among your friends, and it's not about sports or careers. It's about you. You've become the prize in a silent competition that exists just beneath the surface of your everyday interactions. This quiet battle for your attention and approval shifts the dynamics of your relationships, often without you even realizing it. Without your awareness, your presence has triggered something deeper within your circle of friends, a rivalry born out of insecurity. It's not about material gain or obvious social status, it's something far more personal. Your qualities, your calm energy, confidence, or success, have stirred unresolved emotions in those around you. This silent competition thrives in secrecy, turning even ordinary moments into opportunities to outshine one another. In this invisible game, you are the unspoken prize everyone is fighting for, even though none of them would ever admit it openly. In this video, we will uncover how insecurities manifest as hidden rivalries within friendships and social circles. We'll explore why you, without intending to, have become the trigger for these subtle conflicts. From passive-aggressive remarks to quiet resentment, your friends might display behaviors that stem from their own unresolved feelings of inadequacy. We'll also talk about how to navigate this complex terrain, where you're both the observer and the unintentional center of conflict, and how to stay grounded despite the emotional turbulence around you. The competition for your attention isn't always obvious. Friends smile, laugh, and seem to have fun as usual, but there's a tension that wasn't there before. It starts small. Someone suddenly feels the need to outdo you in conversation or subtly criticize another friend in your presence. What once felt light and carefree now feels slightly different, leaving you wondering if it's all in your head. But it isn't. The dynamics are shifting as everyone, in their own way, seeks your validation. At the core lies an invisible rivalry. You didn't ask to be in this position, yet your traits, your confidence, calmness, or even your achievements, act as a mirror in which others see their own perceived shortcomings. When someone recognizes in you a quality they lack, it can spark feelings of jealousy or inadequacy. Instead of confronting these insecurities within themselves, they project them outward, often toward the people closest to them. In this case, that person is you. You've become the quiet trigger of a competition playing out in subtle and sometimes destructive ways. The signs are there if you know where to look. What used to be playful teasing now carries a sharper edge, and compliments often come with hidden undertones. Friends might offer unsolicited advice or show excessive concern for your well-being, but these gestures have a hidden agenda. They want to be seen as the one who knows you best, the one you value most. You may find yourself being pulled in different directions as each friend tries to subtly shape your perception of them, all while maintaining the illusion of normalcy. When friends feel threatened by what you represent, whether it's success, emotional stability, or personal growth, deep-seated insecurities can surface. These insecurities often have little to do with you personally and everything to do with their internal struggles. Left unchecked, these unresolved emotions can manifest in strange and often harmful ways. Without realizing it, your friends may begin to harbor jealousy or resentment, not because of what you've done, but simply because of who you are and what you symbolize to them. When these insecurities rise to the surface, jealousy and rivalry take root. It may start harmlessly, but before long, the dynamic shifts from supportive friendship to quiet competition. Perhaps a friend who once celebrated your achievements now downplays them, or another begins to distance themselves, unable to handle the reminder of their own perceived flaws. Even conversations become coded, every word carrying an unspoken meaning. You find yourself at the center of an emotional storm, wondering what changed, without realizing that your mere presence has stirred these feelings in others. Once these emotional undercurrents are unleashed, they create a kind of invisible battleground. Each friend may feel compelled to subtly prove themselves as the better or more valuable companion in your life. This need for validation fuels their behavior. They may not confront you directly, but through small gestures, sarcastic remarks, or veiled criticism, they make it clear that a competition is underway. And though this battle is fought in whispers and passive-aggressive actions, the emotional toll on the friendship can be devastating. When insecurities go unresolved, it's easier for people to project them onto someone else rather than face their own weaknesses. In this case, you become the easy target. Your friends might start blaming you, either openly or subtly, for the emotions that have surfaced. It could be something as small as accusing you of being distant or different, when in truth, their perception of you has changed because of their own inner struggles. Your ability to stay calm and composed can be mistaken for arrogance or detachment. To someone battling feelings of inadequacy, your peace might look like indifference or superiority. They interpret your confidence as disinterest, and instead of facing their internal conflict, they begin to envy the very traits they wish they had. This misunderstanding widens the gap between you and your friends, fueling the hidden rivalry even further. In truth, you've done nothing wrong. You didn't choose this competition, nor did you intend to make anyone feel inferior. But your very presence, your character, your achievements, your calm aura, has sparked a fire within those around you. The frustration they feel has little to do with you and everything to do with what they see in you, their own unhealed insecurities and perceived flaws. Instead of confronting those inner battles, they externalize them, making you the silent trigger for their emotional storm. As the competition intensifies, friends may start seeking your approval more openly, though often in disguised ways. They might offer unsolicited advice, present themselves as the wise friend, or try to align themselves more closely with your values. Each one, in their own way, competes for your attention, hoping to prove their worth through subtle comparisons and declarations of loyalty. In their minds, winning your validation becomes synonymous with validating their own self-worth. Behind every compliment, gesture, or offer of help, there may be a hidden motive, to stand out in your eyes as the friend you value most. What was once a natural, effortless friendship now feels strategic. Every interaction is laced with an undercurrent of wanting to be seen, recognized, and prioritized over others in your circle. This hidden rivalry, driven by their need for affirmation, begins to erode the authenticity of your connections, turning once supportive relationships into battlegrounds of silent intentions. The truth is, their struggles are with themselves, not with you. They may withdraw emotionally or begin nitpicking your actions, convinced that you've changed or become distant. In reality, their insecurities have turned your calmness into something more intimidating than it really is. This distorted perception of you as cold or unreachable only widens the divide, making it harder to maintain the closeness and trust that once existed. Over time, this growing distance can create a feedback loop. When they withdraw or start behaving differently, you might naturally become more reserved, which only reinforces their belief that you've disconnected from them. They interpret your calmness as a lack of care for their well-being, deepening their feelings of isolation and resentment. In their minds, your composure highlights their own inner chaos, creating a gap that feels almost impossible to bridge. What they fail to realize, however, is that your groundedness isn't a rejection of them, it's a reflection of the personal growth they too could achieve if they faced their own insecurities. This widening gap can leave you feeling frustrated, confused, and even guilty for qualities that should be celebrated. Your peace, emotional stability, or success become the source of conflict, even though you never intended it. As this cycle of misunderstanding and resentment continues, relationships that were once built on mutual support and understanding can start to feel tense or even toxic. You might wonder what, if anything, you can do to repair these relationships, while slowly realizing that the real issue lies in their inner battles, not in anything you've done. Friends may become entangled in subtle forms of manipulation as they seek validation, often without even realizing it. Passive-aggressive behavior becomes a tool to express their insecurities without directly confronting you. A friend might make a sarcastic comment about your success, paired with a smile that leaves you wondering whether they're truly happy for you or secretly resentful. This passive aggression can take many forms, from seemingly harmless jokes about your choices to backhanded compliments that feel more like criticism than praise. These behaviors serve as outlets for their frustrations while maintaining the illusion of friendship. Another form of manipulation appears in exaggerated acts of support. A friend might go out of their way to help you in unnecessary or overly dramatic ways, only to later remind you of their sacrifices. These grand gestures aren't always driven by genuine care, they're often attempts to position themselves as indispensable in your life. By doing more than needed, they hope to win your gratitude and attention, placing you in a subtle state of emotional debt. What seems like kindness at first is often a bid to secure a higher place in your life. Backhanded compliments are another common form of manipulation. A friend might praise you but twist the compliment in a way that undermines it. For example, they might say, "You're really good at that," for someone with no prior experience, subtly diminishing your achievement while appearing supportive. These mixed messages breed confusion and make you doubt the sincerity of their words, allowing them to maintain a sense of superiority. Over time, such manipulation erodes the trust and authenticity that once defined the friendship, slowly poisoning the bond. As the rivalry deepens, the trust that once formed the foundation of the friendship begins to erode. Subtle competition and manipulation create an atmosphere of suspicion and defensiveness. Instead of being a safe space for sharing thoughts and emotions, the friendship becomes a battleground where every interaction is charged with unspoken motives. The longer this continues, the harder it becomes to preserve the genuine connection that once existed. You may find yourself questioning your friends' motives, wondering whether their support is sincere or merely self-serving. Rivalry poisons the friendship by turning once honest interactions into calculated moves. Conversations that were once filled with mutual support and understanding become opportunities to one-up each other. Friends may start withholding information or telling selective truths, fearing that too much openness could give the other an advantage in this unspoken competition. This gradual erosion of trust leads to a breakdown in communication, leaving you increasingly isolated from those who once felt like your closest allies. As the friendship deteriorates, so does the authenticity that once made it meaningful. What used to be a space for vulnerability and growth becomes a cautious exchange filled with unspoken resentment. Friends who once celebrated each other's victories now view them through the lens of rivalry. The decay of trust not only damages the bond between you and your friends but also makes it difficult for either side to continue with honesty and openness. Without that foundation of trust, the friendship begins to crumble, leaving behind only a shadow of what it once was. This hidden competition can eventually spiral out of control, trapping those involved in a cycle of jealousy and sabotage. What began as subtle manipulation and passive aggression can escalate into open rivalry. Friends may start actively undermining one another to gain your favor, pointing out each other's flaws or exaggerating their own importance in your life. This constant need to prove themselves keeps them caught in an endless loop of comparison and insecurity, each trying to be seen as your most valuable friend. As the competition intensifies, it affects not just individuals but the entire group dynamic. Friends who were once allies in shared experiences and mutual support now see each other as threats. Some may begin to isolate themselves from the group or form alliances with others who share their insecurities. This shift in dynamics creates a toxic environment where everyone is more focused on outperforming each other than on nurturing genuine connection. The longer the competition continues, the harder it becomes to return to the supportive and trusting relationships that once existed. Meanwhile, you stand at the center of this storm, often unaware of the chaos unfolding around you. You didn't ask to be placed in this position, and you might not even realize the extent to which your friends are competing for your approval. While they're consumed by jealousy and rivalry, you remain the unknowing epicenter, trying to maintain your calm amid growing tension. This can leave you confused and frustrated, wondering why the dynamics of your friendships have shifted so drastically. Yet through it all, you remain untouched by the rivalry, unaware that your mere presence is fueling it. This situation may be more than just coincidence, it could be a form of karmic reckoning for those involved. Karma is often seen as the energy we carry from past actions, and in this case, the hidden competition among your friends may be their way of confronting unresolved issues. These individuals may have spent much of their lives avoiding their insecurities, burying feelings of inadequacy deep within. But your presence, your confidence and success, has brought these emotions to the surface, forcing them to face the parts of themselves they'd rather ignore. This karmic reckoning isn't just about competition, it's about personal growth. For some of your friends, this rivalry may serve as the catalyst they need to confront their insecurities head-on. It could be the lesson they must learn, to stop comparing themselves to others and begin walking their own path. Growth, however, is rarely easy or comfortable. Some may resist it, clinging to old behaviors and refusing to acknowledge that the real struggle lies within themselves. They may continue projecting their insecurities onto you and others, deepening the karmic cycle instead of breaking free from it. For others, this situation presents a unique opportunity for self-awareness and transformation. Those willing to face their insecurities may come to realize that the competition was never really about you. It was always about their own unresolved wounds, their need for validation, and their inability to accept themselves as they are. This realization may be painful, but it's also necessary for growth. Whether they're ready for it or not, this karmic lesson will continue to play out until they confront their deepest fears and insecurities. Amid this storm, it's important that you remain strong in your power. The jealousy, insecurities, and manipulations of your friends do not reflect your worth, they are mirrors of their inner struggles. It's easy to get pulled into the drama and start doubting yourself, but remember, their actions are not your responsibility. You cannot control how others perceive you or how they react to your success and composure. What you can control is your response. Stay true to who you are, and do not let their insecurities shake your confidence. Your worth does not depend on anyone else's opinions or actions. It's easy to fall into the trap of seeking validation from others, especially when caught in rivalry. But true strength comes from within. You don't have to prove yourself or conform to anyone's expectations. Your calmness, confidence, and success are not things to feel guilty about, they are the results of your hard work and growth. Let go of the need to be validated by those still struggling with their insecurities. Instead, focus on nurturing the qualities that make you who you are. As you continue standing in your strength, you may find that the competition around you begins to lose its power. When you stop seeking validation and remain anchored in your own worth, the jealousy and manipulations of others start to fade into the background. By staying true to yourself, you set an example for others. You show them that it's possible to be confident and successful without diminishing anyone else. In doing so, you protect your inner peace and pave the way for others to find their own strength as well. The final message is simple yet powerful: you are not responsible for the insecurities of others. Though it's easy to feel guilty or accountable for the tension in your friendships, remember that you cannot control how others react to you. Their jealousy, insecurities, and manipulative behaviors are their burdens to carry, not yours. By acknowledging this, you free yourself from the weight of trying to fix relationships poisoned by rivalry. Instead, focus on preserving your inner peace and authenticity, knowing that you are not responsible for how others manage their emotions. As you continue navigating these dynamics, do not be afraid to fully embrace your power. The qualities that have triggered jealousy and competition are the very things that make you unique and valuable. You do not have to dim your light to make others feel comfortable. Let your strength, confidence, and calmness shine, knowing that you deserve success and recognition without engaging in the toxic behaviors that have corroded these friendships. By standing tall and living your truth, you inspire others to do the same. Finally, share your story. Let others know how you stood firm amidst jealousy, manipulation, and rivalry. Your journey, remaining grounded and confident while others struggled with their insecurities, can inspire those facing similar challenges. By sharing your truth, you not only empower yourself but also encourage others to stand in their own strength. Your story is one of resilience and courage, and by embracing it fully, you give others permission to discover their own inner power and rise above the insecurities that hold them back.